Okay, so welcome to Finance Magnates London Summit 2018. We're in the second session. So cryptocurrency remains a top priority for investors and therefore for brokers. But the latter also have many concerns, such as payments, risk management, and etc., over adopting those assets. This session will elaborate on how brokers can and should tackle those challenges. So, Ian, let's take it from here. Oh, John, sorry, take it from here, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is John Murillo, Director of Dealing Division at B2 Brokers. Essentially, you may wonder, a guy like myself, where do I come from? And I get these questions asked quite frequently. Basically, I'm based out of Russia at the moment. B2 Brokers is headquartered in Russia, Moscow. Our company has been in business for over 4 or 5 years, and I lead the division whereby liquidity is one of our offerings. And originally, I was a trader. I started my career as an options trader at a wealth management firm. I then moved into retail brokerage, and now I'm in the institutional space. With this in mind, I have a very good understanding of the whole operation, which is why we provide certain solutions in the market for guys who start up a business, and therefore we cater to a wide audience. With this in mind, though, I managed risk in the past, so I have a very strong track record in this space. And one of the key elements in the crypto space today that most brokers are facing is primarily liquidity. Liquidity is one of the biggest challenges within the industry, the crypto space. There's always room for improvement, one can say, but simultaneously, one has to think the importance of crypto today is where we're going with regulation. It is already a large industry. It continues to evolve, but regulators will play a strategic role going forward. If you guys partner with solution or providers as us or as others within the industry, you get to see many different aspects of the operations that are out there. What's truly important is to find liquidity that serves your needs, that serves your businesses, and that is scalable. That is one of the most important components into running a sound risk management operation from a brokerage perspective. We believe that within the space, there are many participants. Of course, one must always think who is your partner and what level of expertise they have. Experience plays a key role in setting up your operation. Having the correct partner gives you the ability to grow your business in a very I consider this a sustainable approach, because at the end of the day, liquidity is one of the key, yet perhaps the most important component when building your own solution. Our company, being in business and having multiple integrations, over 75 customers on board at the moment, has gained the experience to deal with multiple challenges that everyone has within the industry. I'm sure my guest here or panelist can share some of his experience as well. I'll come back to it in a minute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ian Mcafee. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Shift Markets. So Shift Markets, just a little history so you know our perspective on the space. We started in 2009, and the focus at the time and even now has been FX. Our primary product offering, as we developed it over time, is a turnkey solution to get into the FX space. And now that we've moved into crypto, it's the same thing. It's setting up an exchange in the cryptocurrency industry. So that's kind of my perspective on the space. And what I'll be talking about today is an assumption that you guys, or a lot of you, have dealt in the FX space. So I'll be looking at the point of view from the crypto industry from the perspective of FX or some other industry. But that being said, it's relevant to anyone that wants to get into the crypto space. Is the presentation up? Okay. Actually, let me. So. All right, so the first tenet, I guess, of risk management is you have to think about is the trading side of things. So when you're trading, you have to think about something that a lot of people are familiar with is leverage in the FX space. You're looking at the 50 to 100 to 1. In crypto, that's not really, that's too much. The crypto industry, you're going to see double-digit percent moves in a day. FX, you're going to see 2%, 2% being a big day. Cryptocurrency, you're going to maybe see 10%, 20%, something like that in a matter of a few hours. So you don't need to lever up. On the CFD side, we do offer some leverage if you need it. And on the deliverable side, you really don't need it. We have our exchange platform is 1-to-1. Next point. So the one other consideration is that the FX space is 24 hours. But it doesn't have weekends. So with crypto, you have to think about staffing requirements on the weekend. Who's going to work on Saturday and Sunday in the crypto space? There is market movement on the weekends, and it's something to pay attention to. So that sorry, let me just pull this up because I wasn't aware that I'd have to. Okay, there we go. So on the weekends, you have you need employees to essentially manage your book and manage your positions. You have to establish thresholds, just like any other trading venue. You have to. How much do you want to lose? How much are you willing to risk at one time? There's been some flash crashes in the crypto space. You saw GDAX go for Ether went from like $300 to like 30 cents in a matter of like a few hours. There's been other very, very large moves. The industry is still being developed. There's a lot of the APIs don't work, and a lot of the exchanges, you have market glitches. The fixed protocol is barely used. Most of it's done via REST. The latency is not very good. So these are all things to consider on the technology side when you get into the space. These things matter. These things are going to make your increase your risk significantly if you don't have the proper technology set up. Have some inventory. If you're going to get into crypto, you should own some, buy some. You're going to follow the market much more carefully if you actually have a position. So buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ether. There's hundreds of coins. I don't recommend buying all of them, but take a couple shots, look at the top 50, top 100, and follow that. See what's really going on in the space. What we've seen so far is primarily Bitcoin. It's most of the market cap, or over half of the market cap in the space, but that's changing, and people have been diversifying into other digital assets. That's going to continue to happen. So invest in it a little bit. Get into the space yourself before you start offering to your customers. Like any other financial services venue, you have to have good relationships with your liquidity providers. As John was talking about, liquidity is super important. Without liquidity, people can't trade. And when if you can't trade, no one makes money, no one's doing anything. So have a good relationship with the liquidity providers, because it's not like in FX. Banks have natural order flow that if you have euros switch to dollars, there's people doing that day in, day out. This is a retail-dominated market, and no one has to trade crypto. There's only people that want to get in. They're in to make money. They're speculating. The market makers are speculators. They're not banks. So they can pull out of the market at any time for any reason. So there's no one that's there all the time. So that's why it's important to kind of build those relationships with the liquidity providers and make sure you have multiple, so you can source from different venues in case one does go down. Have an understanding of the blockchain. This is a new space. I mean, you don't need to know a ton to trade. I mean, you have some people that kind of approach it where it's just another symbol, euro dollar or dollar yen or Bitcoin dollar, all the same. The thing is, your users think differently. The blockchain people, if you're in the space, if you're trading, they care a lot about blockchain. They're passionate about the space. It is somewhat of a revolution. You have people that are doing things that they weren't able to do before, sending money in a matter of minutes from one country to another, where bank transfers are very difficult. Now it's very easy with crypto, and you have a lot of true believers that really care about the space. So it's important that you understand your user base a little bit. And of course, you get educated. You have events like this. You have publications, Finance Magnates, of course. You have other ones, CoinDesk, and read up on those. There's headlines. It doesn't take a lot of time to follow up on the crypto space. There's forks. There's things that happen that move the market significantly. So if you pay attention, there's certain key events that on the trading side, it's important that you look out for that. Okay, so moving on to the challenges of the space. Okay, so there's different types of ways to trade crypto. You have physical or deliverable, and then you have CFDs. CFDs, as you guys know, I mean, it's similar to FX in the sense that, or in retail FX, you're not settling every trade. You're not actually taking delivery of euros or yen or gold or whatever. You're just making a position on Bitcoin USD or Ether USD, et cetera. What's nice about that is it makes it very easy for the customer. They deposit fiat, they trade, they close the trade, there's a P&L in their account. But there's a lot more volume in the cash, the settled space, or the deliverable space. People are going to send in crypto, they'll trade and they'll withdraw the crypto. You don't even have to necessarily be involved as the institution to process that deposit and withdrawal. All this can happen without you even really doing anything. So that's the two types of things to think about. Do you want to offer both? Do you want to offer an exchange? Do you want to offer CFDs? It really depends on your structure and how you want to set up and what your target audience is. There's a lot of, as mentioned earlier, there's some wild swings in the space. So volatility is important. We talked about that already. Ripple had kind of a mini black swan event. There's been big moves that wiped out certain people. So be careful there. Another thing is the data. There's not a ton of data in history in the space. FX has been around for a very long time. You have charts going back tens of years. Crypto's been around, really just got busy in the last few years. It's been around for longer than that, but Bitcoin USD history isn't really all that long. There's not that much data. It's also fragmented, different exchanges at different prices. How do you know which exchange to base the price off of? They all vary a little bit. Let's see here. The users are younger. So think about FX and then subtract about 15, 20 years from that. That's your average cryptocurrency trader. They're a millennial on average. They're excited about the space. They're putting in a few $100s to start on average. And you have to kind of position your marketing a little bit around that. And if you're designed differently, it's important you kind of change the way your culture a little bit in the sense that you understand where these new traders are coming from. How do you solve these problems? It's important that you deal with people with experience. As John was talking about, he's been trading a very long time. Experience in trading is important, and understanding which market makers are going to be there, which are going to pull out. That's a critical part of this. You have different venues that you can hedge to. So you have your Bitfinex, you have your Binance, you have large exchanges that you can aggregate together. Some things to think about there are a lot of these places don't accept fiat, so you can't deposit or withdraw fiat. Among the top 10 exchanges in volume, a lot of them don't even take fiat. So establishing liquidity is tough. So a solution would be work with people like us that you can aggregate these people together and have a solid offering. Last major point is the regulation. It's just like any other financial market. You have customers that come in, you have to KYC them, you have to do AML. Ironically, you can kind of track crypto and see if there is money laundering going on. There's services out there that will kind of follow the blockchain around to see if there's something fishy about the deposits. I think down the road that's going to be, regulators might even prefer crypto in that sense, that they can kind of see where the money was. Right now, where banking is very difficult, regulators are looking at crypto with a very suspiciously to see, there is a lot of money laundering still going on. So how do you escape that? What tools do you put in place? Start now, and then as crypto gets more developed, you'll be well positioned for that. Lastly, what's required just to be successful in the space? We talked about the culture. We talked about learning the market moves. I think it's really just building relationships with people at the space and having key established players that you can go to when you need liquidity. The costs are pretty minimal. I mean, lead costs are still low. It's not as competitive as FX. There's not a lot of providers out there. A lot of the market makers are people that bought Bitcoin when it was like $100 and they sold it high. You have these prop shops basically that are doing most of the market making in the space. As we talked about earlier, it's not really the banks. It's really private individuals or small funds that are doing most of the market making in the space right now. They're hard to find, and if you can find someone that's aggregating them together, it's all the better. Let's see. The last point, I mean, it's really just bringing people that have some of the experience. If you're an established trading firm in FX or some other market, hire some people that have some experience in the space, or that at least care about the space. People that are read up on the cryptocurrency space will, just add a new element to the marketing, add a new element to the trading, and just keep you relevant. And I think lastly, the most important thing is try it out. Try crypto. If you haven't done it yet, it's important that you take a stab at it. This is where a lot of the markets are going. More and more users aren't getting any younger. The new people coming into the space are trading crypto. So if you haven't got into it, one of the biggest risks is just not even trying it. So what I recommend is buy some crypto, start an exchange, start a payment gateway, start taking crypto as deposits, do something in crypto, because that's, just keeping relevant is going to be the hardest part about, being successful in the crypto space. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. Do you want to say anything else, John?
In addition with Ian's view, it is the future. I firmly believe in this industry. It's the way forward. Some of us who've been doing this for so many years, we realize the importance of understanding the concept of crypto, getting yourself into it, and essentially, it is where we're going. It's only a matter of time. Regulation will get us there. There was a publication this morning from the IMF that they have a new perspective of how to regulate and how to digitalize and how to move forward, because many governments around the world are already interested in it. There's a lot of dynamics behind, and I think in no time you will see this is the new FX. That's my point of view at the moment in time. That's it. Any questions, please feel free to ask us. Anyone? Yes. What's been the most? Well, I mean, we serve as actually institutional guys, broker dealers. From our clients' perspective, I think it's the new generation that is coming into the space of brokerage. We see people now trading youngsters or Generation X, Y, millenniums, whatnot. They are the new traders of this in this industry. And they are the guys who will eventually will remain your clients for years ahead or for other brokerages. So that's the shift we are seeing. And it's also pretty much geographically oriented. We see a lot of people in Asia heavily interested in crypto. Other Western countries are slowly and gradually moving into it. But it's definitely the new generation. Anybody? Okay, I think if I may speak on your behalf, we'd like to thank you for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you if you have any questions during our sessions today. Thank you.